The ancient alien civilization known as the Cathar had long ruled the galaxy with an iron grip. Their armadas stretched from one star system to another, bringing order, or what they deemed as order, to countless worlds. To them, lesser species were tools, slaves, or at best, obedient followers. For centuries they collected knowledge, absorbing cultures and crushing any resistance without a hint of mercy. Among the relics they gathered from the ruins of fallen civilizations, one artifact stood out, a colossal obelisk etched with glowing symbols, floating silently in the depths of space. It was ancient beyond comprehension, predating even the Cathar's vast empire. Its message, translated into their tongue, was simple. Do not disturb the planet marked by blue and green. Let humanity sleep. The Cathar were nothing if not arrogant. The idea that some primitive world warranted a warning felt almost insulting. They had conquered worlds with star-spanning empires and snuffed out races far older than themselves. Humanity was but a footnote in the galactic archives, a species bound to a single insignificant planet on the edge of the Orion Arm. Earth. Nevertheless, curiosity gnawed at them. High Chancellor Vorax, driven by pride and the desire to uncover whatever secret lay hidden on Earth, dispatched a small reconnaissance fleet. It was a gesture of contempt more than caution, a statement that the Cathar feared nothing. The fleet broke through Earth's atmosphere, spreading out to examine the surface. To their surprise, the world seemed quiet. No sign of spacefaring technology or advanced weaponry, just sprawling cities and primitive vehicles moving in rigid patterns. Vorax felt almost insulted. His second-in-command, Admiral Zorvak, reported in from orbit. Your Excellency, the creatures appear technologically stagnant. No warp signatures, no planetary defenses. It is as if they remain locked in their infancy. Vorax snorted, a guttural, disdainful sound. Pathetic. Perhaps the warning was placed by some forgotten protector race long wiped out. We will collect specimens and see what makes them so special. Prepare the containment units. As ground forces deployed, they moved with the cold efficiency of a conquering army. Soldiers rounded up clusters of humans, corralling them into force fields and examining their physiology. Some humans fought back, futile resistance with primitive firearms, but their efforts were laughable. Vorax ordered the cities purged, just to demonstrate the futility of defiance. But as the orbital bombardment began, something unexpected happened. The sky cracked open with thunder, though the planet's atmosphere remained calm. A pulse, an invisible wave of energy, rippled through the Cathar fleet. Systems malfunctioned, and ships shuddered violently. The flagship's main console went dark, only to flicker back with a single sentence written in a language Vorax didn't recognize. He barked at the technicians, demanding a translation, but before they could respond, a wave of madness swept through the crew. Officers clawed at their eyes, screaming of visions and shadows. Vorax watched in horror as one of his most disciplined lieutenants tore out his own throat. Desperate, he activated the intercom. This is Chancellor Vorax. Report status. What is happening? A response came through, but it wasn't his crew. It was a human voice. Calm, almost bored. We warned you not to disturb us. Vorax froze, dread clawing at his chest. Who is this? Identify yourself. You came to take samples, the voice replied, tinged with cold amusement. Now you'll learn why the universe let us sleep. Outside the viewport, Earth itself seemed to shimmer, as if reality were bending around it. Vorax could see it. A massive shape forming in orbit, a construct of light and energy that pulsed with unnatural force. It reached out, tendrils of power stretching toward the Cathar fleet. Ships vanished upon contact, crushed into singularities or scattered as atoms. Frantic, Vorax ordered the retreat, but space itself seemed to warp. There was no escape, only the relentless advance of something ancient and unstoppable, something that had once slumbered, unchallenged, for millennia. In his final moments, as the flagship disintegrated around him, Vorax understood the arrogance of his mistake. Humanity hadn't been protected by an external force. They were the threat, the thing the galaxy should have feared. And the universe had warned them. Earth lay quiet once more, its cities untouched, its people unaware of the chaos that had just unfolded above their skies. The tendrils of energy that had annihilated the Cathar fleet slowly dissipated, and the shimmering anomaly around the planet faded like morning mist. On the ground, life continued as usual. People went about their routines, blissfully ignorant of the massacre that had transpired in orbit. In a quiet, suburban neighborhood, David Marshall sat on his porch, nursing a cup of black coffee and listening to the faint hum of morning traffic. He wasn't just any man, though. David was one of the Guardians, an ancient order sworn to maintain the balance and ensure humanity's secret remained hidden. Though the modern world knew nothing of their existence, the Guardians had long understood that Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a fortress, a weapon, and above all, a trap. His phone buzzed, breaking his contemplation. He glanced at the screen, an encoded message from the Council. As he tapped it open, a familiar face appeared. A stern woman with piercing gray eyes. "David, it's done," she said. "The Cathar Armada is gone. The protocol activated without a hitch." He sighed, running a hand through his unkempt hair. "That's the third one this century. How many more are going to ignore the damn warning?" The woman, Evelyn Clark, gave a weary smile. "It's in their nature. Arrogance breeds stupidity. They all think they're the exception." David glanced at the sky, his gaze distant. "Did we track their point of origin?" "Already charted," Evelyn replied. "Their home system is about 300 light-years away. We're sending probes to make sure no remnants remain. The anomaly neutralized their entire fleet, but some survivors might have escaped through slip space." David shook his head. "They never learn. We put that warning beacon out for a reason, but every time some conqueror species shows up, they think they're invincible. How many more before the universe gets the message?" Evelyn's expression grew darker. "It's not just arrogance, it's desperation. Civilizations on the brink of collapse, empires looking for a last-ditch effort to secure power. They see Earth as just another resource to exploit. And they pay the price," David muttered. The Guardian Council had long known the truth about Earth. While it appeared to be an unremarkable world on the galactic map, it was actually a nexus of unimaginable power, a convergence point of spatial and temporal anomalies. In the distant past, long before humans evolved, a civilization older than the stars had engineered Earth to be the ultimate safeguard, a place that could channel the fabric of reality itself into raw, devastating energy. Humanity, unknowingly, was both its key and its guardian. Disturbing the planet triggered dormant protocols woven into the core of the world, and those who threatened it were met with annihilation. It wasn't about defense. It was eradication on a cosmic level. A beep sounded from David's phone, a secondary alert. Evelyn's face flickered as new data streamed in. Her brows knit together, and she glanced back at him. "We're detecting residual signatures from the anomaly," she said cautiously. "Something shifted during the event." David stiffened. "What do you mean?" "It's like the anomaly awakened something else. We're still analyzing it, but it's possible a fragment of the protocol remained active." He cursed under his breath. "If that's true, we need to lock it down. If Earth's defenses go unchecked, it might tear the entire solar system apart." "I'm already on it," Evelyn assured him. We're mobilizing units to key sites worldwide to check for fluctuations. You're closest to the eastern node. Head there and make sure it's stable. David nodded, shoving his phone into his jacket pocket. On my way. Let's hope it's just a glitch. He knew better, though. Earth's power wasn't just a deterrent. It was a sleeping giant. If one of the core nodes activated beyond protocol, it could unleash energy that would fracture reality itself. As he moved to his car, his mind raced through the possibilities. Had the Cathar done something before they were obliterated? Or had Earth merely stirred from its ancient slumber, realizing that threats had grown more frequent? The drive was short, but his mind was far from settled. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. That the universe, having once again ignored the warning, would soon learn the true cost of awakening humanity's wrath. The eastern node was nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains, hidden beneath layers of rock and guarded by state-of-the-art cloaking technology. As David drove up the winding trail, memories of his training flooded back. Long days and nights learning about Earth's true nature, the responsibility of being a guardian, and the weight of keeping humanity's secret safe. His truck rumbled to a stop at the unmarked entrance, which looked like nothing more than a dense thicket. He pressed a sequence on his watch, and the air shimmered, revealing a narrow passageway lined with dense metal and biometric scanners. As he stepped inside, the passage sealed itself, and dim lights guided him deeper underground. The central chamber hummed with low energy, and faint blue light pulsed from the crystalline core embedded in the floor. Monitors flickered on the walls, displaying readouts of the anomaly's energy signature. A young technician glanced up from the console, his face pale and tense. "Sir," he greeted, his voice shaky. "We've been monitoring the anomaly since the Cathar eradication. There's a spike in temporal distortions, but nothing that breaches containment. Yet." David moved closer to the core, feeling the raw energy vibrating through the air. "Any idea what triggered it?" The technician hesitated. "We thought it was the activation itself, but something else might be going on. The core's power output is increasing on its own. We've run diagnostics 3 times, but there's no sign of tampering." David frowned, placing a hand on the console. "Run a system-wide analysis again. Check for any foreign signals or residual data from the Cathar. I want to know if they managed to transmit anything before they were wiped out." "Yes, sir." As the technician scrambled to execute the command, David scanned the readouts, his instincts gnawing at him. Something wasn't right. Earth's defense protocol had never malfunctioned before, not even during the last incursion a century ago. Whatever was happening now felt different. His phone vibrated again. Another encrypted message. Evelyn's face appeared, looking more concerned than before. "David, we've got a situation. Another anomaly just appeared on the western seaboard. Same signature, but it's not the core. It's something else." His gut twisted. 2 activations at once? That's never happened before. We're deploying containment teams now, but the energy output is escalating faster than we can dampen it. If it reaches critical mass, the resulting detonation could obliterate half the continent. David clenched his jaw. "Can we isolate the western node from the main grid?" "We tried, but it's responding autonomously. The system isn't accepting manual overrides." "Then it's not just an activation," David muttered. "It's a resonance. One node waking up is triggering the others. If they sync up, the entire planet could ignite." Evelyn looked grim. "That's what we're afraid of. The Council is discussing evacuation protocols, but we both know that's a death sentence. We need to shut down the nodes before they fully awaken." "Agreed. I'll secure the eastern node, but we might need to use the failsafe." Her eyes widened. "Are you serious? The failsafe could collapse the entire planetary anomaly network." Better that than a galactic extinction event. She didn't argue, just gave him a tight nod. Do what you have to. I'll coordinate the containment on the western node. Stay safe. The call ended, and David took a deep breath. He couldn't help but think back to the ancient warning, the message etched into that impossible obelisk floating in deep space. Do not disturb humanity. The Cathar had ignored it, and now the consequences were spiraling out of control. Turning to the technician, he barked out orders. Initiate emergency containment on all auxiliary nodes. Start the resonance dampeners and reroute excess energy to the planetary capacitor. We're not letting this escalate. The young man nodded, his fingers flying over the console. Understood. Initiating containment protocols. But before the systems could respond, the core pulsed violently, sending a shockwave through the chamber. David staggered, grabbing onto the console as warning lights flared to life. Sir, energy levels just doubled. The node is trying to connect to something external. David's eyes widened. External? What the hell does that mean? The technician swallowed hard. It's almost like it's trying to reach out, as if the core itself is broadcasting a signal into deep space. David's mind raced. If Earth's core nodes were signaling something beyond the solar system, it could draw attention from more than just the Cathar. They might have triggered a beacon, a call to whatever ancient force had created Earth in the first place. His heart pounded as he realized the terrifying possibility. Earth wasn't just a weapon. It was a lure, a beacon meant to call something back. And now that it had been disturbed, it was reaching out, desperate to reconnect with whatever force had shaped it. David grabbed his communicator and patched through to Evelyn. We've got a bigger problem. The nodes are transmitting. We might have just woken up something far worse than the Cathar. There was a long, dreadful silence before Evelyn spoke. God help us all. David's pulse hammered in his ears as he raced through the subterranean corridors, the echoes of alarms bouncing off the metallic walls. The eastern node's core continued to pulse with increasing intensity, and the entire facility vibrated with barely contained energy. He needed answers. Now. Ducking into the control room, he found the lead scientist, Dr. Hannah Reyes, hunched over a holographic display, her fingers dancing across the interface. Her usually calm demeanor was replaced by pure panic. Hannah, David called out, snapping her focus to him. What the hell is going on with the core? It's trying to reach out to deep space. She glanced at him, her face pale and drawn. I'm trying to isolate the signal, but it's not just transmitting. It's also receiving. Something out there is responding. His stomach twisted. Responding? You mean something's aware of us now? Yes, she whispered, and it's not friendly. A new alert flashed on the monitor, and David leaned in, his eyes scanning the readout. A massive energy surge was brewing within the core, enough to vaporize the entire eastern seaboard if it wasn't contained. Shut it down, he ordered, but Hannah shook her head. We can't. The manual overrides aren't responding. It's like the node has locked itself into a feedback loop, feeding on the returning signal. David ran his hands through his hair, cursing under his breath. Can we sever the power directly from the capacitor? She hesitated. We could, but that risks destabilizing the entire anomaly network. It might cause a planetary chain reaction. He weighed his options, frustration boiling under his skin. Damn it. We need to know what's on the other end of that signal. Can you decode it? Hannah nodded hesitantly and redirected the signal through a decryption array. As lines of alien script scrolled across the screen, a synthesized voice began to translate. Response acknowledged. Initiating reclamation sequence. Prepare for assimilation. David's blood ran cold. Assimilation? By what? Before Hannah could answer, Evelyn's face appeared on the comm screen. "David, we've got incoming. Long-range scanners just picked up multiple FTL signatures converging on Earth. Whatever that signal reached, it called something here." His hands clenched into fists. "Can you identify them?" Evelyn's face was grim. "They match no known species in our database. If they're ancient, they might predate everything we've encountered. Whatever they are, they're coming in fast. ETA 30 minutes. David swallowed hard. "We need to get ahead of this. If Earth becomes ground zero for whatever's coming, humanity's screwed. We're trying to scramble defenses, but if they're the ones who created the nodes in the first place, our weapons might be useless," Evelyn replied. He glanced at Hannah, whose face was now buried in technical readouts. "Any chance we can reverse the signal? Make it look like the call was a mistake or a dead end?" Hannah shook her head. "The signal's embedded itself into the core protocol. It's a hard-coded handshake, like an ancient greeting or acknowledgement. We might be able to distort it, but we'd need to sync the distortion with all active nodes." David's heart sank. That would mean coordinating every active node on the planet, and any mistake could trigger a full collapse. "Exactly," Hannah said. "But if we do nothing, Earth becomes a beacon for whatever's out there. If they're hostile, it's game over." He exhaled slowly, forcing his mind to focus. "Okay, we've got 30 minutes to coordinate a global distortion. Get me Evelyn and every Guardian leader on the line. We're going to synchronize the nodes and scramble that signal." As Hannah sent out the comm request, David pulled out his encrypted device and accessed the Guardian network. Messages flooded in from bases around the globe. Urgent reports of strange energy readings, unexplained tremors, and atmospheric disturbances. Whatever had responded, it wasn't subtle. Evelyn's face popped up again, alongside half a dozen other Guardian leaders from across the continents. "We're all here," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "What's the plan?" David outlined the distortion process, knowing full well how insane it sounded. "We need to corrupt the signal, make it look like a glitch. If they think Earth's defenses malfunctioned or degraded, they might not bother. But we have to synchronize perfectly, or the whole planet could go critical." One of the leaders, a gruff man named Victor from the Siberian node, grunted in agreement. "Better to risk it than wait to be assimilated by God knows what. My team is ready." One by one, the others confirmed their readiness. Evelyn shot him a glance. "David, you know this could fry the whole network. Earth might never activate its defenses again if we break this protocol." He met her gaze, firm and unyielding. "We either risk our hidden weapon or wait to be subjugated. I'm not about to let Earth become some ancient empire's pet project." She nodded, understanding his resolve. "We'll sync on your mark." David glanced at Hannah, who gave him a tight, anxious nod. "Distortion protocol ready. We'll have one shot." He took a deep breath, forcing his hands to steady. "All right, everyone, on my count. 3, 2, 1. Activate." The core flared, and a blinding pulse shot through the chamber. Across the globe, each node erupted with synchronized energy, sending out a distorted, chaotic version of the original signal. Monitors flashed red, and Hannah scrambled to stabilize the power flow. For several tense moments, nothing happened. Then the anomaly readings began to drop, and the incoming FTL signatures hesitated. Some even veered off course. "It's working," Hannah whispered, barely daring to believe it. "They're losing the signal." David sagged with relief, but Evelyn's face remained tense. "Some of them aren't turning away. A few ships are still on approach. We might have shaken most of them, but the stubborn ones are coming to investigate." He tightened his jaw. "Then we make sure they regret ever answering that call." David paced the control room, his mind racing through options as the remnants of the alien fleet closed in. Only a handful of ships remained on course, but they were enormous. Monolithic constructs bristling with weapons and shimmering with ancient energy fields. The distorted signal had deterred most of the fleet, but these few were clearly determined to investigate the source. Evelyn's voice crackled over the comms. "Scanners are picking up something disturbing. Those ships, they're not just massive. They're layered with some kind of reality-bending technology. It's like they exist in multiple dimensions at once." David cursed under his breath. "Great! Just what we needed. Invincible ancient dreadnoughts." Dr. Reyes furiously tapped on her console, her brow furrowed. "I'm analyzing their energy patterns. If they're built like I think they are, they can phase between dimensions, which makes conventional weapons useless." "Then we need unconventional," David muttered. "What about the nodes themselves? Can we channel their energy offensively?" Reyes hesitated. "Theoretically, yes. But that much power directed outward could shatter Earth's own anomaly field. It's meant to protect the planet, not attack." David clenched his fists, fighting down the panic clawing at his chest. They couldn't just sit and wait to be annihilated. "We don't have much choice. We've already stirred the hornet's nest. Either we fight back with everything we have, or we let them take us without resistance," Evelyn chimed in, her voice resolute. "Agreed. If Earth's defenses are our only weapon, we use them. Reyes, can you sink the nodes into a unified burst, like a gravitational wave, but directed outward?" Reyes bit her lip. "That could work. If we harmonize the energy pulse through each node simultaneously, it would generate a multidimensional shockwave that could destabilize their phasing." David nodded. "Then let's do it. Coordinate with all nodes. We'll hit them with a pulse strong enough to rip reality around them." The Guardians worldwide scrambled to initiate the synchronization, tension thick in the air. David's heart pounded as he watched the alien ships break through the atmosphere, gliding ominously over major cities. Their presence bent the sky itself, colors distorting and warping like oil on water. Evelyn's face was pale but determined. "Pulse synchronization at 87%. Almost there." Reyes adjusted the power conduits, her hands shaking but precise. "Just a few more seconds. And... ready." David gripped the console. "Do it!" The core pulsed violently, and around the globe, each node resonated in harmony, channeling the unimaginable energy of the anomaly network. A wave of pure force erupted from the planet, warping the very fabric of space-time. The sky seemed to fracture, like glass hit by a sledgehammer. The alien ships trembled as their phasing fields flickered and sputtered. One by one, they were dragged into normal space, their dimensional anchors collapsing. Vulnerable and exposed, they hovered for just a moment before the energy wave slammed into them with the force of a collapsing star. The ships disintegrated in a flash of brilliance, their forms scattering like dust on the solar wind. The energy from the nodes gradually dissipated, and the sky returned to its usual blue calm. Reyes slumped against the console, breathing heavily. "We did it. They're gone." David closed his eyes, his adrenaline finally waning. Evelyn's voice broke through his relief. "We've got scattered debris falling into the ocean and minor atmospheric disturbances, but it's nothing catastrophic. We actually pulled it off." He allowed himself a grim smile. "Good. Let's deactivate the pulse before it fries the network completely. We might not survive another round." Reyes moved to comply, but just as she initiated the shutdown, the monitors flared again, showing a single encrypted message in the alien language. Automatically, the system translated it. "Protocol reclamation failed. Initiating response Omega." David's gut twisted. What the hell does that mean? Evelyn's face blanched. "David, long-range scanners just picked up something. A massive spatial distortion near Jupiter. It's huge." The holographic display zoomed out, and his heart nearly stopped. A colossal structure, dwarfing even the alien dreadnoughts, was emerging from subspace, its presence warping gravity itself. Reyes stared at the screen, horror etched into her features. "It's not a ship. It's a mobile command nexus, like a living fortress. If it gets here, it'll unleash enough firepower to turn Earth into slag. David knew they had exhausted the anomaly network's output with the pulse, and charging it again would take hours, time they didn't have. Desperation clawed at him. Can we send a distress signal to any remaining alien factions? Make them think Earth is already reclaimed? Reyes frowned. I can try to replicate the original signal, but they might see through it. If they detect distortion, they'll know it's a trick. Do it anyway. It's our only shot. As Reyes scrambled to recreate the alien signal, Evelyn's voice came through, fierce and unwavering. If that fortress reaches Earth, it's over. We might have to consider evacuation. Get as many off-world as we can. David refused to accept that. Humanity had never been about surrender. If the ancient creators of Earth's defenses had truly designed it as a weapon, then somewhere within the anomaly network had to be the key to unleashing its full power. But as he stared at the terrifying approach of the alien nexus, one chilling thought lingered in his mind. What if Earth wasn't just a weapon? What if it was a prison, holding back something far worse than any invader? David stared at the screen, his thoughts spiraling as the massive alien fortress loomed closer, its silhouette blotting out Jupiter from view. The size of the construct was unimaginable, like a city floating through space, bristling with energy conduits and weapon emplacements. Evelyn's voice broke the silence, barely above a whisper. That thing, it's not just a ship, it's a planetary siege platform. David gritted his teeth, forcing his mind to focus. Reyes, how's that signal coming? She wiped sweat from her brow, fingers flying over the console. Almost there. I've matched the distortion pattern from the original pulse. If this works, it'll look like Earth is already in their control. He nodded. Broadcast it as soon as it's ready. If we're lucky, they'll call off the assault. The room was suffocatingly silent as the signal beamed out from the node, riding on frequencies too advanced for human technology to even perceive. The waiting stretched into agonizing minutes as the fortress continued its slow, ominous approach. Finally, the fortress emitted a response, 2 symbols displayed on the screen. The translation followed. Signal corrupted. Protocol integrity compromised. Purge and reclaim. Reyes sank back into her chair, defeated. They didn't buy it. They're moving to full planetary purification. David clenched his fists. Evelyn, what's our window? Her face was stone cold, calculating. 15 minutes until it enters high orbit. Once it's in position, it'll unleash enough firepower to turn Earth into a molten rock. Desperation clawed at his mind, but an idea suddenly sparked. A reckless, insane idea. What if we use the nodes not to fight, but to overload the anomaly itself, turn Earth into a singularity? Reyes looked at him in horror. You're talking about collapsing the entire spatial anomaly into a gravitational well that would destroy the planet, and probably the entire solar system. He nodded grimly. And take that fortress with it. They want Earth because it's unique. They see it as a weapon they can reclaim. If we deny them that, if we turn it into a trap, it's a final act of defiance. Humanity won't be a prize for anyone. Evelyn hesitated, her voice cracking. David, that's suicide. Billions will die. David's eyes were hard and unwavering. If we let them reclaim Earth, it won't matter. They'll rewrite reality, enslave the survivors, maybe even rip the anomaly apart and take the technology for themselves. Better we decide our fate than let them have it. Reyes bit her lip, tears gathering in her eyes. But she knew he was right. Slowly, she nodded. I'll initiate the singularity cascade. It'll take a few minutes to overload the core nodes. Evelyn's voice softened. You sure about this? David forced a sad smile. We were warned. The universe tried to protect us. Maybe it knew this would happen. Knew that one day We'd have to make a choice. We're not letting them take us. He activated the Guardian network, broadcasting to every major node. His voice was calm, resolute. All Guardians, this is Commander Marshall. We are initiating Protocol Omega. Earth will not be taken. Begin evacuation if possible, but prepare for planetary collapse. It's been an honor. Across the globe, Guardian bases acknowledged, and a quiet acceptance settled over them. They had trained for every scenario, but never imagined it would end like this. Reyes began linking the nodes, her fingers trembling. Power buildup initiated. Once the cascade starts, we'll have about 5 minutes before critical mass. David reached out, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. You did good, Reyes. This isn't your fault. A bitter smile touched her lips. Maybe not, but it's hard to let go. Evelyn's face reappeared on the screen. David, something's happening with the fortress. It's stopping. He frowned. Stopping? Yeah, it just halted in orbit. Scanners are picking up massive internal energy fluctuations. It's like they're struggling. Reyes glanced at the core readout. Wait a minute. I think I understand. When we broadcasted the distorted signal, it didn't just fool their fleet. It infected their own systems with incompatible data. It's corrupting their command structure. David's eyes widened. You're saying they might self-destruct? Evelyn's voice picked up, almost hopeful. It's possible. If they can't maintain dimensional stability, the fortress might collapse on itself. Reyes furiously typed commands into the console. We can amplify the distortion, force it through every node at once. It'll push their systems past the breaking point. David nodded without hesitation. Do it. She activated the final sequence, and the core pulsed with raw energy, sending out a shockwave of chaotic distortion. The fortress above Earth convulsed, its form shifting and warping as the corrupted data overwhelmed its dimensional anchors. And then, with a soundless implosion, the entire construct folded in on itself, vanishing from existence like it had never been there at all. Silence fell over the control room, broken only by the faint hum of the core stabilizing. Evelyn's shaky voice came through. It's gone. Whatever they were, they're gone. David let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding, his hands trembling. Stand down the Singularity Protocol. Keep the nodes on low power. We just won. Reyes managed a small, exhausted smile. I can't believe it. We actually survived. David looked at the monitors one last time, seeing the skies clear and calm. Humanity had once again proven that despite being underestimated, they were more than just survivors. They were protectors of their world, fierce, unyielding, and unpredictable. As the dust settled, David couldn't help but think that the universe's warning had been right all along. Never disturb humans. Because those who did rarely lived to tell the tale.